Okay, George, now it's your turn.
My guest speaker, it's a little different than past years. My guest speaker, I got to the honor of playing Pop Warner with. I got the honor of running around the neighborhoods when we were little. Got the honor of going to high school with, talking throughout college, and growing our lives together. My guest speaker is a 2000 graduate of Derby High School. He was an All-Valley and an All-SEC football player. He's a UConn Husky, graduated with a bachelor's degree in English, and he attended Southern all the way for his doctorate, but he decided to put that on hold for a career in the restaurant world. And that's where it gets interesting. 2012 was a great year for Mr. Baklik. He was the New Haven Advocate Best Male Bartender. He also was the winner of the Purina Dog Chow NFL Big Guy Small Dog Contest, which means you can find him and Miss Pebbles in the month of August. Right? On top of that, in 2012, he also qualified for both American Gladiators and Jeopardy in the same month. Yep. Excellent year, my friend. Right? He's an old friend, and it's great having him back in Derby as the mayor's chief of staff. He's done a wonderful job with the town so far, helping the mayor, and we're very appreciative to have him, Mr. Andrew Baklik.
Going high tech here. I got my iPad. So first of all, I'm going to echo a lot of the things that Mike said. I think we probably had a lot of the same experiences, and at the core of this, we're from different places, obviously, Shelton Rotary, across the bridge, but at the end of the day, I think thematically, my message is very similar to his. At the end of the day, we're all from the same place, and these guys that you're sitting next to today, you're always going to have a bond with. And George and I think, are a testament to that. We came up together from the time we were kids, but let me try to stick to my speech, keep it brief, and kind of get to the things that I wanted to talk about today. So first of all, thank you to the administrators and everyone from the school, especially Coach French, for inviting me. This is a speech that I've wanted to make since I was sitting in your guys' seat. I remember thinking to myself, wow, maybe that'll be me one day. And maybe I could get myself to be a good public speaker and go get an English degree, and maybe one day they'll invite me back. Bartending for the last 18 years hasn't really gotten me the invite, but now that I'm the chief of staff, I'm here. So, I'm super stoked about it. I'm very nervous about it. I've been talking about it all week to everybody. And I know a lot of you guys, so thank you to the Rotary. 18 years ago, I was handed the Derby-Shelton Rotary Student of the Year at a banquet just like this in the back of Connie's, and I remember sitting in a similar kind of banquet with a lot of other students and everything, and that was a competitive process, and kind of helped me to complete my higher education. So thank you, and I'm glad to be able to be back here today to pay some of you back for that gesture. On to kind of the crux of what we're here to talk about. So, George and I played, as he said, bitty basketball, Pop Warner, Little League together, and he was always kind of intimidating. I mean, he was about that size when we were like 6'7". Smaller than I am now. And he used to hit us every day, and I was a year younger than him. I used to be afraid to go to practice to have to let him hit me every day. And long story short, the bond that we have and watching him grow as a person and be able to institute the way that he played and the kind of student he was, and he was a coach's dream. Coach Chev will tell you, anybody that coached him, he was the one who'd run through the wall for it. He was the one that get everybody else in line. So it's great to see him leading our young men now, and I'm super proud of him for that and for all that he's achieved so far. So with my new job working for the mayor, it's been a kind of a whirlwind. I certainly don't have the background in this world, the municipal world, bartending all those years. Mayor Zekin happened to find me behind the bar, and I guess for some reason said, hey, you want to run my campaign? We did that. The next thing I know, we win big. He says, you want to be my chief of staff? I said, I don't know what that means, but let's do it. So here we are a year later, and I think we have a lot of success, and I get the kind of opportunities like this to talk to you folks. So let me get on with the football talk. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm going to give you kind of a Spark Notes version of how we got here and how I got here. Probably the thing that shapes me and defines me the most, and some of you know this, a lot of you probably don't. When I was 3 years old in 1985, my dad was a builder, a home builder. He fell off a roof and severed his spinal cord, broke his back. He's been in a wheelchair ever since. He's still alive. He's a great inspiration to me. He's given me perspective my whole life as to something like that can change your future, can change your now, and can change it forever. I look at Tommy Abel sitting here with his knee brace, and he's been a great teammate to all these guys. That was a terrible thing that happened to him, but guess what? He persevered. He's training, he's rehabbing, and he's going to be back for baseball. We look forward to having him back. Well, my dad wasn't so lucky. Unfortunately, he's still wheelchair bound, and for me to have guys like Coach Chev and guys like George on the practice field, and some of my coaches and the people I played with, it was very important for my development as a person. Because otherwise, I don't know, my dad couldn't throw the ball with me, my dad couldn't shoot hoops with me, Dad couldn't do any of that stuff. So these guys kind of picked up the slack for what my dad couldn't do. He was great with helping me with my homework and doing all that stuff. So for me, Derby football, football in general, was a huge thing for me to develop into kind of an effective adult human being. So I want to thank all those guys who contributed to that. And I guess the point of that is perspective is key, kind of similar to what Mike said. You guys have an opportunity here. This is an unbelievable opportunity. It's going to be one of the most memorable games you'll ever play in. For Shelton, most likely you guys have an opportunity to move forward. For Derby, for a lot of you guys, this is the last time you put a helmet on. So I guess for me personally, I was glad to never have any regrets about the way I played that day. I actually watched my DVD the other day. Mayor said, "What are you doing there?" I said, "I'm watching my Shelton game." I have the DVD in my office, and I watched it, and I was proud of the way that we played. We lost 34-20, but we, much like kind of the makeup of the room here, we got two tables of Shelton. There might have been 4 tables of Shelton kids when I played, and we had about a half a table of Derby guys, and we played our hearts out, and we played well. So all I can say is, Thursday after the game, you guys are going to go. You're going to have dinner with your families. They're going to love you all the same, regardless of the result. But the next morning, you have to wake up and look at yourself. And just make sure you didn't leave anything on the table in that game. Make sure you didn't leave any opportunity to make a play. I think of, like, it takes one play. It takes one play to become a legend. It takes one play to end your season. Odell Beckham made the catch. Ever since then, he's a superstar. If he didn't make that catch, I don't know, he's a good receiver, don't get me wrong, but that one play. And for us, I think going back to the history of these Shelton games and Mr. Sheehy talking about that, I remember some of this stuff. I mean, I remember some of these plays. I certainly remember that cold game. We tied 7-7. I was telling Mr. Sheehy that I was a running back that year, and I remember trying to find a dry surface to wipe my hands on to be able to grip the ball. And there was nothing except for under Coach George's helmet in the back of his shoulder pads here. And that's why the end fumbled as many times as he did. We shouldn't have been playing. The following year, my senior year, we actually moved the game off of the Thanksgiving Day because the weather was so bad to prevent a situation like that, so we could have a fair game. We actually played on Saturday. So, of course, I didn't say anything that was written on this iPad, by the way. Kind of winging it. So I do want to hit on a couple things. First of all, in 1995, we went to the Pop Warner National Championship. We had a great team. We had a great group of guys. And much like my experience with, I never lost to Shelton. We never lost through Pop Warner. We went to this national championship our junior midget year. We lost to Chicago and Elgin All-Stars, who had 63 kids. We had 19 Grady Derby kids going both ways. And for me, that was my first year being a good athlete. I was always kind of pudgy, got my 8 plays and got out. And then grew into my body that year. I had 29.5 sacks in 16 games playing defensive line. I was about as big as I am now. So from that, we had very high hopes coming into high school. We thought, hey, our linemen are all going to grow. We're all going to get big and strong. The receivers, the running back, everybody's going to continue to develop. Unfortunately, this is about as big as I was then. I'm this big now. I went to switch to receiver and running back in high school. We did well. We fared well. But as Eddie said, we had a very hard schedule. We probably had no business being in the SEC at that point with our enrollment. But we did what we had to do. And I tell you, I know talking to the Shelton guys, who I'm still friends with, you need a cold tub after that game, no matter what, because these guys aren't going down without a fight. You guys aren't going down without a fight. And it's going to be a physical battle regardless, as with any Valley matchup. So, and after high school, I went to UConn. My freshman year, I was there on an academic scholarship, so I didn't play, which I regretted terribly my sophomore year. So I missed walk-on tryouts, unfortunately. But I knew somebody who was actually there at UConn that year, Dean Orlowski. So I called and I said, hey, he called me in his dorm room. There was like a directory of dorm rooms. No, I don't even know if we had cell phones, really. I called him. I said, hey, I missed walk-on tryouts, and I went to Edsel's office, and he looked how little I am, and he laughed at me. He said, yeah, basically, get out of here. So the next day, I get a call in my dorm room from Coach Edsel. And he says, hey, Danny says you can actually play. He said he played you on Thanksgiving Day, and we got a spot for you. So I literally, because of my relationship with Dan and from things like this and going to, I got to play. I didn't play very long. What they did was they switched my schedule to history of rocks and history of rock and roll. And at my size, I certainly wasn't going to the NFL, so I needed to get back to my studies. But the coolest thing about that is it gave me the opportunity to showcase some ability. Ended up playing some flag football. My senior year of college, when you take height and weight out of the equation, I think I was a pretty decent player. We ended up winning the national championship of flag football. So I got my national championship finally after we lost it in 7th grade. I got it as a senior in college. It was a co-ed team. We traveled all around the country. It was a phenomenal experience. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to try to wrap it up for you guys. So who watched, by a show of hands, who watched Monday Night Football last night? Awesome game. For the first time in NFL history, both teams scored over 50 points. First game of my senior year, we had, again, high hopes. We had good athletes. We had a good team. We gave up 55 points in the first game, and I was like so disappointed. I remember my dad calling his friends out there. They gave up 55. We scored 62. So we had the highest scoring game in the history of the state at that time, and it remained that way for quite a long time. But in that game, I had 4 touchdowns. It was a good game. I was leading the state in scoring because of that game for like the first 4 or 5 weeks. Then again, we came crashing down to earth, and I'm still the same size that I am today. So I guess to the real lessons here, enough about life and where I came from. A couple years ago, I moved to South Carolina, to Charleston, South Carolina. I left Derby. I left the Valley. I said, there's got to be more to life. There's got to be a better place. There's got to be a better place to raise a family. There's got to be better weather. So I moved to Charleston. Unbelievable. Great city. Spent 3 years there. I met a girl I thought I was going to marry. And then little by little, I started to miss the Valley. I started to miss things like this. I miss Derby. I miss familiar faces. I came home. Came home with my family, and there's a quote that resonates with me all the time, and it's, a man travels the world in search of what he needs, and then he returns home to find it. So for me, that couldn't be truer. Come back to the Valley, be here in front of you guys, when I remember being right there, sitting in that chair, and listening to some older guy who I couldn't believe I was going to be that old one day, talking about the things that I'm talking about now. And as you said, Mike, it resonated with me. I'm so glad to be able to talk to you guys and hopefully give you if you take anything from this, great. If not, what do you say, forget about it? It is what it is. So in closing, after Thursday, you guys are all going to be brothers. The Derby guys, the Shelton guys, you're going to be brothers with each other always. What's going to happen is you're going to go away to college. You're going to have the same kind of situation I had with Dan, where you're going to go to bat for each other. You're Valley people, and we always have each other's back. So it may not seem that way now, and maybe every year on Thanksgiving we probably still will hate each other or jump to each other. But at the end of the day, we're too small of a place to be on opposite sides of anything. So just keep that in mind when you're moving forward, whether it's the college, the military, the job force. We're all Valley people. So I want to close with a quote from my probably favorite movie, probably his favorite movie, probably a lot of guys, and probably Chef's favorite movie. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And obviously, anybody? Rocky Balboa to his kid. And that really resonates with me. So on Thursday, go out there, lay the wood, get back up again, because after the game, you're going to go home, eat the turkey, South-Fade mashed potatoes, and regardless of the game result, like I said before, your family's going to love you. Make sure you can look in the mirror that next day, and make sure you left everything on the field. So thank you guys, I appreciate it.